All right, everybody, welcome back. Sam's Army Match Week 16/17. We got a lot to talk about. First, we're going to start with Premier League, where we'll talk about the Manchester Derby, the Forest Flowers, and some much anticipated sackings. Halftime, we will hit a KickIt sponsored soccer tennis related weekly what if. Round the world, FIFA goes full effing FIFA. Got to talk about that. And stoppage time with Ivan Toney's best bets and everyone's favorite segment, GOAWs. Now, this episode is sponsored by KickIt, a fun all-in-one soccer tennis game that Tyler's going to give us a little inside scoop on here.
Yeah, so it was started by somebody that I know, when I originally was living in Chicago, and he was living in the Chicago area at the same time. And basically, he's one of us. He's been following Sam's Army. He's a big fan of the podcast, but also he's a former college soccer player as well. And he had a major injury. And when he was injured, he basically came up with this concept of having sort of like a spike ball, take it on the go, beach backyard type soccer tennis deal that has evolved into this very easily playable soccer tennis vibe that you can, and we're going to have a sponsorship and a discount code as well. Sam's Army 25 is the code on kickit.com. And you basically go to their base level soccer tennis set and you're going to get 25% off of what essentially is just, you take it anywhere on the go, like soccer tennis for the beach, for the summer. It's a great Christmas gift for a loved one who might be into the game or for yourself. But it's really, really cool.
A small correction. I think it's just Sam 25.
Sam 25, excuse me.
There you go. Okay, now it's time to welcome in this panel of beauties, one of which, half of which you guys already know quite well at this point. Tyler Terrens is here with his immaculately coiffed hair, as always. How's fantasy football going this season, sir? How's it going?
Fuck off.
He spent 5 minutes telling us about all the things that had to go wrong for him to lose.
Biblical things went wrong. Javonte Adams, James Cook putting up 25 points out of nowhere, pulling that shit out of his ass. But I was the league leader. I don't want to get into FPL too quickly in the podcast. I was the leader in the Sam's Council of Elderlies, or whatever the fuck it's called. But the other football was a disaster. I'm out of the playoffs. I got bounced. I'm sick to my stomach. Fucking sick.
He was so mad. We had to get the Tyler Terrence little anger in right off the bat. Well, I'm sure we'll get back to it later.
What's more recognizable at this point? My coiffed hair or just me getting pissed off really about anything?
I mean, listen, you got some strong calling cards. Yeah. I think you got multiple. So I think
I just want to be recognized. I just want people to know what I'm all about, baby.
That and your, plus 2,000 parlays that never ever hit. Those are your calling cards.
Watch yourself. I've hit one before.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Also, we got Mr. Mitchell Goulet, aka Overtime Mitch. So I woke up from a text that was, I believe, sent last night. I woke up to it this morning, in which you said, and I quote, "I am beating women." So how did your Saturday night go?
Read the whole text if you
I
might.
can't remember the rest of it.
I know. I am beating women at pool for money is the entirety of the text that Sam is referring to. And I went on a little run last evening. I did not beat any women. Thanks for that rumor, Samuel.
Listen, you came out alive and well, and apparently up some money. So well done. Well done, sir. And by the way, this should be a warning to anybody if you're going to play Mitch in pool. He's a little bit of a shark there. All right, let's head to Premier League. Some interesting results this weekend, and we're taping on Sunday, which is actually something that we want to do moving forward. Hopefully, do it a little more often. But the results are fresh on our mind, especially the Manchester Derby, which took place earlier today. Manchester City lost to Manchester United 2-1. Other results: Forest beat Villa 2-1. Liverpool drew with Fulham 2-2. Southampton got absolutely shellacked by my boys, Tottenham Hotspur, and sent their coach packing. As a result, Brighton lost to Palace 3-1. Those are some of the results. There's other ones, but Tyler, what results stood out to you as the most interesting this weekend?
Oh my God, does it ever have to be the Manchester Derby? Good Lord Almighty! I mean, not for nothing, but that game was atrocious.
Terrible.
That might have been the worst that I've seen City play. Now they've been worse defensively than that, but attacking wise and like never finding a rhythm throughout the course of the game. And I don't know how much credit I'm going to give to Manchester United. Like, it just felt like a slop fest, like down and dirty, disgusting. My eyes were bleeding over the course of that game. It might as well have been like Lincoln City and Accrington Stanley. Like, it was disgustingly horrid. But for United to come out on the other end of that game with 3 points, and not for nothing, but for Liverpool to only have picked up a point in the Andy Robertson thing, like, it just goes to show that City are they're not in this title race. It's not happening this year. They are not them, and this is like such a far cry from the City team that we once knew. For them to pull something like, I mean, they got citied. They got citied. A game in which, like, typically, if City was down 1-0 going into the final 3.5 or 4 minutes, they pull off the miracle. They're the ones who are leaving with 3 points, and the other team is absolutely devastated and left shell-shocked on the field. Like, there's nothing to talk about with that game other than the last 4 minutes.
Yep.
Zero. Beyond zero. And the last 4 minutes were a motherfucking calamity of the highest proportions, and I was hysterically laughing. It was absolutely incredible.
I mean, I got nothing else to add. That's exactly it. It was like we were sitting around for 87 minutes, and there was just nothing happening. City wasn't doing much. United wasn't doing much of anything either. Like, I got sort of crushed on Instagram when I put the caption as, City was cruising for 87 minutes. And I guess maybe I gave City a little bit too much right there, but they were cruising in the sense that United was not troubling them. They just weren't doing anything. Neither of them were doing anything. So it just seemed like they were cruising towards a 1-0 boring yawn fest win until the last couple minutes, and then things went off the rails quickly. By the way, the Mateus Nunes or whatever, the fact that, I mean, first of all, yes, that was all his fault, pretty much. But he's not even a defender. He's getting thrown in there to the Wolves.
But those are schoolboy mistakes, though.
Yes.
You don't need to be a defender in order to know to not do the two. Like,
pass it to the other team who's making a run towards your goalkeeper, and then after that, your goalkeeper kind of saves you and sort of, got Diallo off to the side and doesn't take a shot. And then Nunes comes in and just karate chops him down in the box. Like, maybe two of the biggest mistakes you will ever see a Premier League defender make in a
but then he was the one,
5 seconds.
He was the one who let Diallo waltz in behind the back line for the second goal,
the second
too.
one as well.
He was the one who turned his head. Nobody followed him. I mean, I guess you could say that it might have been Gvardiol who was the other one, too, but nobody tracked the vertical runner. Like, he was, and again, he might not be a defender, but like, those are two of the most simple, basic things of soccer that you have to abide by if you don't want to get scored on. Like, just brutal.
It's incredible. I mean, the fact that City has fallen so far and so fast, I'm sort of taken aback by it. Like, I don't really understand what's going on. I mean, obviously injuries are a big part of it. Let's just be honest. But that goes for every team.
Yes, for sure. But we cannot attribute this all to a Rodri injury. We simply can't. And I think we, being us three, Mikey and Tommy as well, can demand a bit of an apology from all of the nasty, mean commenters on Instagram who were like, who the fuck are these people talking about City? Shut up, Americans. No, this is Pep's glory. You guys don't know what you're talking about. It's aging like fine wine right now. This was, back talking 4 weeks ago now, that was the beginning of the end. And we are seeing rock bottom so far. I don't know what a true rock bottom for City looks like, but you saw it in Pep's reaction too when they scored. That was a deflected cross that came about because of numbers in the box. Good, but you saw it in Pep's face that he was like, "Oh, Jesus Christ, I don't know how we stumbled into a goal, but okay, I guess." And you look across the 11 and even the bench, there's nobody on City bar maybe 3 players that want to do the work, that want to go win the ball back, and that want to organize an attack forward. There's a bunch of players that want the work done for them. And when you're asking Mateus Nunes to defend in the box, then your tactics are probably not where they should be, even if it is only a game against 14th place Manchester United at the time. I also got kind of crucified on Instagram for calling it a proper mid-table battle. People didn't like that one. People didn't take
I didn't realize I didn't realize how many City fans actually exist out there until we released that video and until some of the arguments that I got in, because it's almost not to the level of this, because Ronaldo has fans worldwide, but it's like any time that I've publicly criticized Cristiano Ronaldo, like it is a bloodbath out there on social. It's just like one of the dumbest things you can do, and I didn't realize how bad it was, but this is like they're so far off the mark, and not for nothing. As much as we're talking about the now 130 charges and what that might yield in terms of a discipline, what I will say, and Robbie Musto touched on it, and I was thinking as they were asking the question, talking about like how there are a lot of what are normally mid-table teams that are threatening Europe and are threatening the normal status quo, like the Nottingham Forest, like the Bournemouth, like the Fulham and stuff like that. Financial fair play and bringing these super clubs back down to earth monetarily is having an impact. And I think that we're seeing the biggest one on City, because you know that their sporting director and their technical director and their front office staff surely saw this coming and surely saw that they needed a rebuild 18 to 24 months ago, but they couldn't do anything about it. They would have brought in 6 more players, 7 more players to attribute to this moment to make sure this didn't happen, but they can't. And the other big clubs can't spend willy-nilly now. And Liverpool is the only one who's been abiding by any sort of self-inflicted pay structure for the past 15 or 20 years. And that's why they're at top of the table right now, because they've been operating in this, organically for the past 20 years or however long John Henry has owned the team. So
great segue.
This is all just, it wasn't a segue. I'm just stroking my own red, over here. But I'm just saying, like, this all makes sense in terms of the financial implications that have come down over the past 3 years.
I'm calling bullshit on one thing, and that's that Liverpool is the only one that's abiding by this kind of pay structure thing.
Don't say Spurs.
Tottenham
Don't say Spurs.
Too.
You
Tottenham
guys spend
too, goddammit.
You guys spend a shit ton of money. Go look at transfer market and go look at the past 3 transfer windows and how much money you guys have spent. You guys spend money. I'm not saying you don't fall within the parameters, but Liverpool is the only one who falls in the parameters or actually play football consistently against teams that are not named Southampton.
You're both clipping coupons, but Liverpool's the only one that's actually making out with it.
Yes.
Well, listen, I didn't say that we were winning games. I just said we were abiding by a pay structure. Okay, and
so
I stand by.
So is Wolves. What are we talking about? Like,
yeah.
All right. Well, now do we want to transit? Well, actually, before we get off the game, are we going to give United any credit here?
They turned it into a slop fest. I don't know even how much of it they did, but at least this felt like a derby, and Højlund getting in the face of Walker, and Kyle Walker should be ashamed of himself for the flop and everything like that. But yeah, there should be flowers given to United for the simple fact that they just grinded out like one of the ugliest wins of the season in the final minutes of the game. But like, yeah, this is the type of win that, especially in a new era with a new coach and everything that's been going wrong with United, this could potentially be a launching platform for them. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if I give the whole team credit, but I definitely will give Amad Diallo credit.
He was so good.
Probably the best player on the field.
So good.
And that second goal, I still don't know how that ball went in. I don't know what Guardiola was doing with his little back heel thing, but yes, Diallo.
That's a tough play to make when you're running back towards your own goal and you have to clear it, and it kind of like it was an awkward bouncing ball. Like those are I've had that happen to me on the goal line before, and it's you feel like an idiot, especially the one, and it's gone through my legs before, but you get so tangled up and it's bad. Yeah, it was bad.
All right. It's a little projecting, a little PTSD.
It's not fuck off. It's not projecting.
It's telling you some bad memories. It brought back some bad memories. It's fine.
It wasn't a great memory, but it happens.
That's why you never play defense, Tyler. Someday you'll learn.
It was my choice.
All right. Other games. Mitch, actually, I'll just give you the same thing. What outside of the Manchester derby, what game stood out as sort of the most interesting?
Let's talk about Liverpool Fulham, because it was not nearly as entertaining as... I'm sorry, it was far more entertaining than the draw that I experienced on the weekend. I want to retract my statement from last pod and say Fulham is a good team. I'm going to say Fulham is a very good team.
We upgraded there.
I'll go to say that, right. I think a very, very good team would have beaten Liverpool, given the circumstances, but I'm gonna put one very on Fulham and call them a very good team, because boy are they exciting. and particularly, you all know who I'm going to talk about, Anthony Robinson.
Yeah.
There's a legitimate conversation to call him the best fullback in the Premier League, maybe most in form in the world. And I do not watch enough world football to compare left and right backs like that. But every day, every game day, Anthony Robinson is assigned some of the most elite wingers in the league, and he runs his ass up and down that sideline with no regard for his own stamina. The dude just runs and runs and runs and runs. It was last year when Salah asked him after the game, like, bro, do you ever stop running? I'm paraphrasing. But it's really impressive to see what Anthony Robinson does week in and week out. 2 assists on the score sheet. That doesn't tell half the story of what he does. He wins duels. He progresses the play. He recovers. He intercepts balls. The dude is just an absolute gem, and we're lucky to have him. We're lucky that we got him in the dual national divorce there.
Seriously. And over the last couple of weeks, he's shut down Arsenal and Liverpool.
Yep.
Well, stop. Hold on. I was really, really hoping nobody was going to say that.
No.
Because if you watched that game, Sam, if you watched Mohamed Salah when he got on the ball, that was the most dangerous Mohamed Salah has looked on the ball in a long time, just running 1v1 at people. Jedi slipped a couple of times. And I'm not saying, and listen, when Anthony Robinson comes over to Liverpool, he's not going to have to deal with Mohamed Salah other than in training, so it's fine. But he got cut up, and again, against one of the best wingers that will go down in Premier League history, but he did not shut Liverpool down. Let's make that against 10 men.
I really just wanted to get in that he still has Saka in his pocket, which is really what I kind of wanted to get.
Good.
All of Everton has Saka in their pocket. I mean, let's talk about that, because theoretically that is the most.
Saka's the only one making something happen in that game. Gabriel Martinelli needs to take a hard, long look in the mirror. If we're moving on, let's move on. That game was just soulless from an attacking standpoint, apart from Bukayo Saka. Bukayo Saka is truly the only one that looked like he wanted 3 points out of that game. I do not think Everton, either their center backs or their left backs, had Saka's number in that game. We looked uninspired, defeated, set piece FC, whatever you want to call us. We need to revamp what we look like, because we just don't look like we want to go score goals from open play. As basic as that is to say, we look like we're playing for corner kicks. The little triangles that we make on the corners of the 18, the only purpose those have is to open up either Martinelli or Saka to drive on the goal line, and then create a choice for the defender to either play it off them for a corner or allow them to drive in until they can get a cutback. And teams have figured that out. It's a little upsetting to watch, because there's players that are not willing to take a shot that have the ability to do so. There's runners in behind that are wasted because we want to play a certain way and we want to overlap on every fucking time we have the ball. It's just a little disappointing that we can't get 3 points against Everton at home.
So there's one thing I'll add from this weekend, and it's not about the games we've talked about so far, but the fact that Liverpool, drew with Fulham at home. Arsenal drew with Everton at home, and City, I mean, we don't even need to talk about them because they really shouldn't even be in the discussion at this point, even though they're still in 5th. If I were going to put some money on a team to win the title this year, it would probably be Chelsea right now. And I hate saying
5 in their last 5.
I hate saying that, but they are a good team, and they have one thing that Liverpool doesn't have in Nicholas Jackson up top, where you guys are clearly sort of lacking in that department.
Jota's back, though. So if he can stay healthy, which is a massive if, then I think that looks different. But on that subject, I'm about done with Darweezy. I am. And
done with that project?
Yeah, and God bless him. But what I will say is that, particularly in this Arne Slot system, is that he's more exposed technically than he was under Klopp. Because under Klopp, that sort of erratic helter-skelter nature is we love it. It's encouraged and it's revered. But now he needs to be a little bit more nuanced. Now the pass to Jota was clean, it was quick, and it was a good assist. But for the most part, I'm holding my breath every time he touches the ball in these moments. I really am, and it's not in a good way. So it's I've about had it, and I've about had it with Andy Robertson too. Like if they're willing to let Jedi go for 20 or 25 in January, which I don't think that they will, because they're going to try to use him to get to Europe and particularly Europa League, I would pay it. But I'm sure that number in January is going to be a lot bigger than it will be over the summer.
Yes, Andy Robertson, and so you touched on it earlier, teased it. There was the red card. What thoughts on that?
I'm 100,000% the easiest red card known to mankind, and he was horrendous even before he gave that ball away, and then the red card ended up happening. But this has been a long time coming from him. He's a 30-year-old left back who relies upon fitness, athleticism, and being able to sprint and run. It's over. Like, I love him, and he was my favorite player in Liverpool for years, but it's just time to move on. It's as simple as that. And, like saying goodbye to club legends sometimes needs to be a thing, but you have to say goodbye to him at this point.
He's going full Kyle Walker, just those few years earlier.
Yeah, Tsimikas ain't it either.
Okay. Nottingham Forest. We got to talk about Forest. So they I wouldn't have called that game against Villa entertaining. It really wasn't, but they just, and I don't even know if Forest is really entertaining, but man, they just get results. They just win. They get what they can out of every single game.
It's a good coach. It's a good coach over there at Forest, isn't it, Sam?
Listen, I'm glad. I'm happy for him, and I'm happy for them.
Are you happy for them? Because I feel like they're exactly what you want Spurs to be, which is competitive and threatening top four. You are not that.
No, I want entertainment. And
stylistically, you'd rather have fun than win.
Entertainment and lose. I'm all for that. Forest is not necessarily that, but listen.
You'd rather beat women in billiards, not beat women.
Just give me the money. Yeah. Listen, I think Forest, we've been calling it for weeks now. Again, another one of our takes. Listen, we give a lot of bad takes, no doubt about that. But I think we were pretty much all on board that this Forest team, they just feel like legit. They feel real. And I know they had a little bit of a swoon immediately after we said that, but they're back. And that game against Villa, Villa is a very good team. I think they had just won in the midweek, right? The last second, wasn't that Ross Barkley?
Yes.
Winner?
Yeah, the Champions League. Yeah.
Right, Champions League winner. So, I mean, this is a Champions League team who just won in Champions League, and they beat them. And it was like it's just the way they do it. They're legit. They are going to be a top half team, no doubt about it.
Can I zoom out real quick? And this has something to do with Forest at the beginning of the season. And I know Mikey's not here to defend this take, but Mikey mentioned that this is a down year for the Prem. He said it a couple times. Just a binary answer, yes or no. Do you agree? Is this a down year for the Prem?
Yes, I agree. Just on the top level statement, and it's based on the top level teams. Just based on is City good? No. Is Liverpool as good as they have been? I would say no. Is Arsenal? I would also say no. So
is that what makes an up year for the
Prem? Agreed. But that's the thing.
That's what.
Is that, right? I guess that's I'm challenging you now after your answer, but I don't think it's a down year for the Prem. I think that is the beauty of this league, that teams like Forest can challenge for top four and can be this exciting of a team, and it's not just a flash in the pan to start the season. I love that about this league. I love the parity.
Well, but that's the thing too, right? Is if you're going to say that this is a down year when there's parity and when there's actually a title race going on,
right?
Then okay, then you can't say it's a great year for the Prem when Liverpool and City have 198 points combined and everybody else is struggling to, get third or fourth and just fighting for scraps. That's not a good year for the Prem.
It's all about your definition of good year, right? Because when you say down, I'm saying the top teams. The top teams are maybe a half step lower. And so that makes it, that makes the league better, right? That makes it more compelling, more interesting. More
globally
exciting.
And in Champions League, sure, it might be
right now, Sam.
Yeah. Champions League wise, and being able to say that EPL is the best league in the world, you're probably not going to win that argument this year based on the talent that's available. But in terms of the Premier League being the most exciting league to watch domestically, I think that Mitch is 100% right, and this is a great year for the Prem given how much parity there is.
Yeah,
and again, it goes back to the financial fair play catching up with everybody.
Yep.
I don't know if I can subscribe to that yet, because yes, City is they're just in a world of hurt right now, but I don't know if that's financial fair play or if it's just poor planning, because they still spend a shit ton of money. And
Do
so
they?
does Liverpool, so does Spurs, so does
Who
Arsenal.
has City bought in the past 12 months?
Listen, I'm not
Gundogan back.
for $0. He was like $0.
Technically,
Right?
Guardiola's been in the past year. Other than that, I don't know. The players that they've comparatively are more notable.
Yeah, comparatively to years past. I mean, the Julian Alvarez sale was obviously huge, and that was, I think, to get right FFP wise.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's sort of what I'm getting at, is that, like, comparatively to years past, sure, they're still one of the bigger spending clubs in the EPL and in Europe, but like in years like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago, they're a different animal in terms of like what they look like in every single transfer market, and like the wealth of riches, and oh my god, they got Grealish, and oh my god, they got Haaland, and this just sort of ongoing and never-ending list of the best talent in the world has sort of stopped. And it's like one or two signings maybe here or there, and some guys who are already in the City Football Group system who they like are paying for, but are they really paying for them? You know, that type of deal.
Yeah. Savinho, essentially, who has not worked out, by the way, so far.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other games? We had Newcastle taking it to Leicester.
Poor Wolves.
Wolves saying goodbye to Gary O'Neill, Mikey's boy, after losing at home to Ipswich. I mean, I know that Mikey loves him, and I know that he's a manager that it's easy to kind of get behind him, just the way he, his style and everything. But man, it does feel like, so there are 2 sackings this weekend. Gary O'Neill's gone from Wolves. Russell Martin is gone from Southampton. Gary O'Neill, like, does anybody have a theory about what's going on with Wolves? I mean, like, after the post game, the last 2 weeks, they've just like shown a lot more, fight, literally, than they have during the game. So, like, what is going on with this team? I don't understand. They are too good to be where they are in the table. Like, I feel like that's just a given almost at this point. Mitch,
I think Neto was a lot of their success last season, and losing him is like maybe the biggest impact, or has had the biggest impact on them. I don't think they're better than their place in the table right now.
Really?
I think they're a 19th place team. And you can see that with the extracurriculars after the game. I like that, for the record. Like, I like showing a little bit of hustle and bustle after the whistle. Shows you actually give a shit about losing. But until you manifest that in the 90 minutes between the whistles, doesn't really matter.
I was just looking at, like, if they're missing a bunch of people. They are missing a fair bit of people with injuries, but yeah, I guess that goes for every team, so it's hard to say that. Now, Russell Martin in Southampton. Listen, they got absolutely worked today by Tottenham. I think this clearly says more about Southampton than it does about Tottenham, unfortunately. And Russell Martin walking down the tunnel, down 4-0 with 90 seconds left in the first half. Number one, you're Russell Martin. You're not Jose Mourinho. You can't do that. You can't pull that kind of move. And then Spurs scoring a 5th goal. Why? After you went down the tunnel? Yeah, that's it. I mean, I'm actually shocked he came back out for the second. I'm shocked that the ownership let him come back out for the second half after pulling that move. Goodbye, see ya. But the thing about him, and he was lauded, right, for the expansive style and the way that Southampton come out and they play. And now, because they've sucked, he's getting absolutely killed because, they weren't tactically flexible and, this whole thing. I mean, like, who would ever want to coach a newly promoted team at this point if you actually want to play soccer? I don't understand if anybody would want that job. It feels like Vincent Kompany has essentially ruined it for everybody else, because he came up and he's like, oh, we're going to play this fun, go for it style with Burnley. And he did get fired, but he also got hired by Bayern.
How he swung that into the Bayern job, I still don't know.
Yes, you do. It's his name. It has nothing else to do with any. There's nothing else to do with it. 0.
Yes, that's the answer. But going back to my question previously, I think it is a down year for the Prem in the sense that we're expecting Southampton to be tactically flexible. Any bottom of the barrel team should play like a bottom of the barrel team. I do not want to see Southampton, Wolves, Ipswich, or Leicester trying to play out from the back like they are playing, total complete football.
But it depends on what team they're playing against.
It does. But have you seen, good tactics from Southampton? No. Fucking smash the ball, route one, get a big ass striker, and stay up in 17th place. Like I think that's why it feels weird this season, is because we're expecting and we're seeing different play styles, or the same kind of play style throughout the entire table. I would like to see some more bottom of the barrel football, like in the Manchester Derby today.
Where is the Tony Poulises when we need them?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other games? I mean, Brighton lost to Crystal Palace.
Brighton looked bad. But Palace looked good.
Palace
did look
Palace
good.
has the talent to do that. We've talked about, coming into the season, we were all kind of high on them. They've been awful this season. I can't wrap my head around Brighton this season. They've been all over the map.
Mm.
They're losing. They're beating Everton. They're losing to Palace. They're, drawing with Leicester, losing to Fulham. I just don't. They don't feel like the Brighton that's everybody's sort of darling of at least of the soccer hipster world at the moment.
This is why a couple episodes ago I chose to take them over, is because nobody knows what to expect from them. And it's only going to get a small segment in the podcast about, I can't figure them out. What's their manager up to? I don't know. Okay, on to the next.
I guess we're on to the next. Unless Tyler's got a insightful nugget for. I'm sure that Tommy actually would right now. He'd
absolutely, yeah. But he's smarter than us, so
he did us with all sorts of tactical stuff. Let's move on, I guess. Unless there's other results, there was the. Well, I guess we hit on all the highlights and the lowlights at this point, so we'll move on. FPL. What do we got going on? I think, as we already said, Tyler,
I'll at your boy.
FCTT coming up big this season. This week.
1 week.
60-something points, top of the Sam's Army Council of Elders, at least for the week. Unfortunately, you're still in last place, but you're coming up.
You got to start somewhere, baby.
Making moves. Mitchell, you're in the crosshairs there. 26 points to catch him. Now, as for the league itself. Let's see. Rooney Tunes still on top. You were top last week. Brian Gerstenfeld. Magnets. Patrick Kelly is in second place. I'd Rather Walk Alone. Jay Quintana is in third place. Cold Palmer FC. Aditya's TVs. And then the good Major League Soccer. Fraser Connor, who also forced Mikey to change the name of his team. Shout out to him. You're in fifth place. Well done. Now, weekend preview. What do we got coming up this weekend? Let's see. By the way, since we're taping on Sunday, we actually still have a game on Monday, which is Bournemouth and the Hammies. Other than that, we got Saturday, Aston Villa hosting Manchester City, Brentford hosting Forest. Move on to Sunday, Leicester hosting Wolves. That is a bottom of the table. Speaking of bottom of the table, drunk fest. Leicester versus Wolves, and then Spurs hosting Liverpool. I just don't like playing Liverpool. I have zero faith that we're ever going to beat Liverpool. And right now, especially without any of our, sort of top-notch defenders or center backs anyway, we're not going to win this game.
Yeah, there's a week off. There's a week off too for us to lick our wounds and get back to neutral with all the midweek games that have been happening too. You're in trouble for this one.
Yeah.
It's gonna keep it real.
I mean, it might go over.
Don't you have a cup game?
Do we?
There is cup games. I don't know if you guys.
have a cup game on Wednesday.
Damn it, we do have a fucking cup game. No. Oh, we do. No.
Oh, it's just Southampton. You're fine.
Yeah. They don't even have a coach.
EFL Cup, yes, you do have Southampton. So you are.
I had the Champions League. I forgot we're in every single tournament known to mankind. Yeah.
Oh, Spurs have one too. Oh, we're still in the EFL Cup.
Good.
So we're down to the quarterfinals in that, by the way. So Arsenal play Palace. That's on, I believe, Wednesday. Newcastle hosts Brentford, Southampton hosts Liverpool, and then Tottenham hosts Manchester United on Thursday. Yeah, we might win that one. We're definitely going to lose against Liverpool. Any thoughts on the weekend from you, Mitch?
Palace home, then Palace away, midweek, and then the weekend. That'll be fun. I love when teams play back-to-back games. That is just it's a nice little treat in the schedule. This kind of is more so related to this past weekend, but I'm going to swing it into kind of a projection for this weekend. I have not seen a single performance in which Mikel Merino has warranted his price tag. I think he was brought in here as kind of a do-it-all Band-Aid midfielder, and he has done none of it. He has one gear when he does or does not have the ball. Passes that he makes that are forward are either too far in front or too far behind. He does not win as many duels as I would like him to at his size, and I just haven't seen him add $25 million worth of value to this side. He's had plenty of playing time. He has 15 matches under his belt now, and he still doesn't feel like he's found the rhythm of this Arsenal team. Especially, I think now that he's gotten time with Odegaard as well, he's getting a little more used to that rhythm, but I still would like him to step up. So what I want to see from both the midweek and this weekend is 2 back-to-back Mikel Merino 8.0 appearances. Show me something.
On the Opta statistics?
On my scale. Fuck the Opta Sofa score scale. On my scale.
Okay, fair enough. What else? We got Villa City.
Oh, yeah.
So what is it going to get worse before it gets better for City at this point?
I already thought it was rock bottom. I don't know if it gets worse than losing to a battered mid-table United team at home in the final 4 minutes. I don't know if it gets worse than that. Can it? And at what point, and I said this to you guys, what point do you start to put your foot down if you're the City front office and just sort of like come to an agreement with Pep and be like, this is not good for either one of us to keep going down this road?
I don't think we're anywhere near that. And I don't think so.
How bad does it need to get?
With this trajectory, they've won one of their last 11.
I mean,
how much worse can it get?
Yeah. I mean, listen, if we go through the holiday festive period and, they haven't, and they continue this sort of trajectory.
And not for nothing, you know Villa's about to win this game too. They're set up to win this game. They like to go in transition. This is a group that is set up to beat a wounded, naked, scared, shaking in their tiny little empty-head boots City team. John Duran's going to have a hat trick over the weekend.
I mean, just I'm imagining sort of, saying hi to John Duran in the Chicago Fire locker room about 18 months ago. And now it's not it hasn't happened yet, but I could actually see him scoring a hat trick against Manchester City this weekend. It's just
giddy with excitement.
Oh yeah, it's insane. It's insane.
I think to answer your question, I think this weekend is the rock bottom, because looking forward past that, they have Everton, Leicester, West Ham, Salford in the Cup, Brentford, Ipswich.
I mean, if they don't get,
I think losing to Salford would be rock bottom.
To answer your question, I think
on the table right now.
If they go through that stretch and they still haven't turned it around, I think that's what it would take before it, like, Pep getting sacked would even come up in serious conversation.
They beat Leicester. They beat Leicester. Come on, right?
What if Jamie Vardy is the one to put the nail in Pep's coffin? And Jamie Vardy beats City in the final moments, and then Pep gets fired the next morning.
Wow, 42-year-old Jamie Vardy. I respect that. Oh my God. Yeah, I just don't really know. We assume that they're going to make some big purchases in January. You hear about all these, Bruno Guimaraes is perhaps on the way and all this other stuff. But yeah, without that,
I would sell Nunez to them for $15 million. Get him off our hands.
I don't think that's who they're looking for.
They can have two shit Nunez's on the same team.
I don't think that's who they're looking for to plug the gigantic gaps in their midfield and defense that they have.
Where's the Pep magic though to sort this out and to just stop the
That's
bleeding?
what I asked a few weeks ago.
No
this is where a good coach steps in,
Not
stops
just a
the
good
bleeding.
Not just a good coach, arguably the greatest
Best coach
coach
ever.
of
Yeah.
our generation.
That was my whole point.
Where is it? Where
I
is
think
it?
he's checked out. I don't think he sees the desire to put forth that emotional energy that it takes to turn a team around. I think he's checked out. He's won everything he can.
So Jurgen
with
Klopp,
this club.
Jurgen Klopp is just way smarter than Pep and knows when to get out when he doesn't have any more energy left.
That's a hell of a bridge to jump, but yeah, sure.
One,
That's how you want to interpret that.
one did win one title in the last 7 years, and the other one won 6. But
No. Stop it. I'm just saying, in terms of, by the way, my girlfriend has pointed out that I'm now starting to do that in arguments with her, and that she hears me do it on the podcast and on the radio all the time. She's like, "You're talking to me like you're talking on Sam's Army. You're talking on the radio, and you can't just tell me to stop it in the middle of a conversation. It's really bad. It's really like it was a serious point of contention this weekend. Anyway,
my 4-year-old does the same thing. When she's doing something bad and I tell her to stop it, her response to me is, "Stop it." It's like, no, that's what I said. That's what I said. Anyway, go forth.
What I'm saying is that simply Jurgen knew when to get out, and he's more socially, emotionally aware than Pep, and he doesn't self-harm, so he also has that going for him.
There's a lot of good pluses on the Klopp side, but 6 out of 7, that's not nothing. I mean, they're still defending champs. What if City somehow turned this around? What if? Is that
To what?
I don't know. To
Turns
win
it
the
around to
title?
what? Finishing third?
We would have to delete. We'd have to delete like seven episodes of the pod.
If they come back and win the title, I'll change career paths. Swear to God.
We'd have some serious regrets.
Yeah.
I don't see that happening. But I guess we'll see. All right, halftime. Weekly what if? All right. I'm actually this is a good one. So what if we're playing KickIt? Soccer tennis, right? 2-on-2. We are playing. Who do we decide? We're going to go up against Messi and who's his partner?
Jordi Alba.
You got to play with somebody in MLS, somebody from MLS. That's the ground rule. That's it. You and somebody from MLS going up against Messi and Jordi Alba. I guess, Mitch, we'll let you go first.
I get to start?
Yep.
So it has to be an MLS player. I've rattled through a couple. My initial thought was Ricky Puig, a healthy Ricky Puig, but I fear he's just too petite a princess to be effective in a game of footy tennis. I think his short legs might be a hindrance in some areas if we're trying to get back into the corners. No doubt that he's technically capable, but I think I'm going to go with Lucho Acosta in this. Yeah.
He's smaller than Ricky Puig.
No, he's not.
Lucho Acosta is like 5'2".
Ricky Puig is like smaller than Lucho Acosta.
Mitchell, Lucho Acosta is a little Argentinian McNugget. He is
I
so
know,
small.
but he's not as small as Ricky Puig.
He's smaller. I bet my whole life on it. Mitch,
Ricky Puig, according to the Google, is 5'7".
Yep.
Acosta's 5'3".
Yeah. That's it. No take backs. No take backs. No take backs.
That's fine.
He went with a guy that's 4 inches shorter than to account for Ricky Puig being too small. So if this is a tournament setting, okay, Sam, if this is a tournament setting and I have to play against Mitchell and his miniature-sized friend Lucho Acosta, I'm going with Christian Benteke.
Oh man. Okay. All right.
So
good game.
Yeah.
Damn it.
I mean, I didn't know that. I didn't really. I still don't know if like the being sort of the big, strong, burly type is helpful.
But I've played. I have a little bit of an advantage because I've played plenty of KickIt in my day, and it does help to be at the net and to just sort of like go be up there, right? And I'll just be sitting back. Anything gets over Christian's head, we just do a little switch. He comes back, we play, and we go out. We play out of pressure. But it does help to be up there and to just sort of like dish back whatever's coming over the net. So it helps a little bit. Yeah.
Interesting. I think Tyler
It's
had a
not
little
the
bit of a
end-all,
leg
be-all.
up on. You had a little bit of a leg up on us here because
everybody's got a leg up on Mitch's teammate. I'll tell you that much because
I'll play in front of the net and he'll play behind me. That's
that
fine.
is an all-time selection. That's your best weekly what if ever.
I'm gonna go a little bit off the beaten path. I'm gonna go with Dax McCarty here. I think he has the.
He's retired. Nope. He's retired.
He's still
he's retired.
on contract until December 31st. Okay, he is. That's how it works. December 31st. I might now, but I'm just saying that.
It might not. That's how it works, but it might not be.
It might not, but I'm just going with it. Dax McCarty, I feel like he's technical enough that he could make up for my shortcomings. And also he's just a winner. That guy just finds a way to win. So I'm going to go with Dax McCarty in this one. Shout out to our Sam fam, newly retired friend. But yeah, I'm going with Dax McCarty. I think, we'll get worked. It's me. We're going against Messi. Of course we're going to get worked. But, we give it a good effort. And Dax can carry us. I'm feeling pretty good about that.
By the way, if you do want to play KickIt and you do want to challenge your friends, and again, this is like such a cool thing. You take it to go. It's like Spikeball in the sense that it comes with a little carrying case and the whole thing, and you can play it anywhere. You can play it in your garage. You can play it outside in the backyard, at the beach, by the lake, whatever. Sam25 on KickIt.com. We're going to have a link that's going to take you directly there. With the coupon SAM25, you're going to get 25% off, and it's going to bring it to a all-time low $59.99 to get the base soccer tennis set from KickIt. So go ahead, sign up, SAM25, 25% off. You're not going to regret it, and you'll be able to beat Mitch and Lucho Acosta because Mitch wanted more size and decided to go with the guy who's 5'3".
I love that answer. Love that answer. All right, we will now head to Round the World, where we got to talk about FIFA. FIFA has done the unthinkable, and they've sort of outdone themselves. I mean, so the big news, obviously, is officially now FIFA has announced the host countries for the next two World Cups, 2030 being this schmortion of a South America / Europe / Asia World Cup, which is just not Asia, Africa, which is just insane. And then, but it is what it is. Like they made that, they basically gave South America just a little bit of a taste on the 100th anniversary, and then they're really just letting Spain and Portugal.
Well, it's done that way, and it's scheduled that way for a purpose.
Right, so they can give the 2034
Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. So it's not just it is what it is. It's not a bit of morsel. It is
tactically done. It was tactically done.
It is a very, very intentionally scheduled event.
Very
it's not just so. It is what it is.
Very much so. And it's just the fact that I know that we've known about this for months, basically, but the fact that they did it still just is galling in so many ways. We came across, when was it? When they gave away the 2022 and 24 World Cups together, or was it 18 and 22? I think it must have been 18 and 22. Whenever they that whole thing blew up in Sepp Blatter's face, and they had and so the U.S. Government basically went after his ass and took him down, took some of his henchmen down. They didn't take down Gianni Infantino, who was, by the way, one of his henchmen. And now all the things that Gianni Infantino said he was not going to do and FIFA were not going to do in terms of like how they were going to go about this process of, awarding World Cups, he did every single one of them in this bidding process. Like, he was talking about transparency, and I swear I've heard him say that we're never going to give away two World Cups at once again, because that leads to all sorts of horse trading and corruption, all that stuff. And it's going to be open. There's going to be this bidding process. Everybody's going to know what's going on. They didn't follow any of that. They followed none of it, and it's just so bald-faced and in our face that it's just so obvious what's going on, and it's just. I'm just sad and disappointed, but I know that nothing is going to happen and nothing is going to change. And I still am going to tune in to the World Cup and be like, I can't wait to watch this soccer. But yeah, it sucks. This is FIFA. I guess it's just a perfect proof of the whole axiom about power corrupts and power corrupts absolutely. FIFA's got no checks and balances, and they do whatever the fuck they want.
This is Infantino's pension. This is his retirement gift to himself. Seriously, how much longer is he going to actually be doing this? Whatever money he's going to get in between now and then from Saudi Arabia, obviously under the table, dropped in duffel bags at gas stations in Switzerland, whatever it might be. This is it. This is his final hurrah. This is the last pound of flesh he's going to take from the universe. When it comes to being in charge of FIFA and what that is able to come with from that part of the world. So. Big brain move right in front of our faces. Nobody can really do anything about it, and it just is what it is, man. Like, it's just fucking crazy. Absolutely
The
crazy.
shamelessness of it is insulting to us as fans.
That's the word I was looking for. It's just the shamelessness.
It's really to even pretend like you're playing it off as this was voted upon or this wasn't just explicitly bought out. It's insulting to fans, and I think where a lot of fans may feel a little like extra dejected and hopeless is to know that like you can't do much to change it. Either you as a fan boycott FIFA and its events and you lose essentially the only governing body of soccer, and you lose the only organization with the capacity to impact the game in your life personally, or you speak out about it, but to whom? You're speaking to other people that share your opinions, other fans that know that there's corruption within every single aspect of FIFA. And like you said, there's just no checks and balances. So it's like you can hold these opinions, but you can't do anything with them. No. And it's really upsetting.
And I don't hold them strongly enough that I'm not going to watch the World Cup. I'm going to watch the World Cup. Okay.
Unfortunately, that's the case for a lot of us.
Yeah.
And I think that's shows people's attitudes towards the game as a whole, that like we are not watching Gianni Infantino's World Cup, we're watching the World Cup.
Yep.
We're watching the world event, and I don't think it's realistic for anybody to boycott watching the World Cup over this. Can understand if you do, but I think there's a lot of good things to focus on with soccer as well. This in particular just feels disgusting.
It's just gross.
And if you want one more reason to hate the guy, stick around for GOAWs, because I'll give you something even better. And one more reason to hate this bald fuck, because he's
I think, not to harp on this subject, but I think the really despicable people are your Rio Ferdinands of the world, who are very obviously taking sponsored money to promote Saudi Arabia. The tweet that he had, did either of you see that, where it's like, I'm so excited for this upcoming World Cup in Saudi Arabia. It's a beautiful, historic footballing nation with rich club history. I can't wait. And it's like, dude, don't. This sounds like it wasn't. It was written for you.
He didn't write
no.
it.
How much do you think he got for that?
Anywhere from $500,000 to $1 million.
Sure, for one tweet.
Easily. That's one
of
the biggest voices in English punditry saying that he can't wait for this upcoming World Cup, and this nation has a rich, deep history in football. None of that's true, but everybody's got a price.
He's got a price. And listen, Infantino, we got a price. We're looking for sponsors, so hit us up.
If Gianni Infantino said, here is $6 million for each member of the podcast, promote the shit out of a Saudi Arabian World Cup for the next 5 years, would you?
Absolutely.
I would have a tough time saying no. My wife would stab me in my sleep if I said no. So
are we going with the percentages I already laid out for everybody for all of our revenue, or no? in terms of who gets what?
No. It's $6 million each.
$6 million each.
Everybody got an equal share. Yeah.
Okay. Damn it.
All right. We'll get back to Infantino and his hijinks in just a minute. But for now, we're going to move on to stoppage time, where we start, of course.
It's not, of course, where we start
with Ivan Toney's best bets.
Oh, I thought you meant the rest of the world. I've got blue balls for the next like 6 or 7 weeks with no MLS hit and quit a minute. I mean, I'm gonna be backed up. I need a release.
You're gonna be clogged up for a few weeks. No, we're moving right on to stoppage time, where Ivan Toney's best bets is up, and Unfortunately, a little bit of a mea culpa again. And 2-3 this week, not good, not good at all. That's 2 weeks in a row where we've been under 500. So I'm extra incentivized, extra motivated to get you guys some winners this week, and I feel good. I feel pretty good about it this week. So we're going to start on Wednesday. We're going to the Netherlands, a Dutch Cup game. Heracles hosting NEC Nijmegen. And I definitely butchered that name, so Mitch, you can add that to the cut of me just screwing up everything I try and pronounce. Thursday, we are going to the Conference League. Vitória de Guimarães hosting Fiorentina. Friday, A-League, one of my favorite leagues to bet on. Adelaide United hosting Sydney FC. Saturday, we're going to Bundesliga 2, which has probably emerged as my favorite league. Paderborn is hosting Karlsruhe. And Sunday, we're going to the Premier League. Leicester hosting newly coachless Wolves. We're going to get a bounce out of the Wolves. And Leicester, they tend to score a few goals here and there. So there we go. There's our five-a-side overtrain. We're going to get it back on the tracks this week. I feel good. All right. Next up, Mr. Goulet, where are you going with this?
All three games are happening on Wednesday. You're going to put them all together. We have Arsenal to score twice against Palace, both teams to score in Monaco PSG, and Atalanta first half money line against Cesena in the Coppa Italia. It is Atalanta's rolling right now. Put them all together, you are at plus 290.
Okay, nice. I like it. Mr. Tyler Terrence, what's your best bet?
I've got Aston Villa to beat Manchester City, and then both teams to score in the Brentford-Nottingham Forest game, and that's it. So that'll get you to about plus 392. So nothing crazy. Nothing crazy. By the way, Villa are favorites. No, sorry, they're not favorites. I lied to you.
I was going to say, wow.
Yeah,
no. City's fallen far, but that would be... Whew, yikes. All right. Everybody's favorite segment, GOAWs time. I guess we'll start with you, Tyler. You go first. You've already teased it. What are you hitting us with?
So we've got the good and the bad. Let's start with the good. Shout out to my University of Vermont Catamounts getting to a national final. If you're listening to this podcast on a Monday morning, afternoon, or even coming home from work, switch on. I think the game's either going to be on ESPN or ESPN2. National final, University of Vermont. It is the first national championship that the state of Vermont has ever been to in any sport, in any team sport, I should say. So shout out to the Catamounts. They've been a good program for the past several years. And when I was the voice of their women's basketball team, they just started to win a bunch of games, and their coach ended up leaving, going to Florida Gulf Coast. They had a guy by the name of Brian Wright. I don't know if New England Revolution fans remember that name, but he got drafted from University of Vermont to New England. He ended up bouncing around USL. I don't even know where he is now. But anyway, this is to say that this has been a long time coming, and Marshall University has gotten back to the national championship. So it's going to be Vermont and Marshall, two powerhouses going after it in the national final. So congratulations to both of those teams. We love a little bit of college soccer. We love the American soccer pyramid, and we love where college soccer fits into it, except for Ernst Tanner, because then if that's the case, then you just don't give a shit about college soccer players because you give away all of your super draft picks. And so the bad and the Gianni Infantino story that I was going to tell you guys is Sam, you brought up the concept of this isn't Gianni Infantino's World Cup. This is our World Cup. Well, if you are going to be tuning into the FIFA Club World Cup and the new format and the new version of the FIFA Club World Cup, okay, then you are very much indeed watching Gianni Infantino's FIFA Club World Cup, because not only was it his idea, the trophy has been named after him. It wasn't named after some club legend. It wasn't named after Johan Cruyff. It wasn't named after Messi or the most decorated footballer of all time. No. The trophy of that tournament is the Gianni Infantino trophy.
You're welcome. Serious?
I am. I shit you not. I shit you not.
Oh, that's gross.
So cringe.
Absolutely. Have you seen that video of him trying to take a corner kick? Have you ever seen a video of him playing football?
No.
Embarrassing.
I think I have seen it. It's not good.
Oh, it's
no better than Sepp Blatter.
Is he a big guy though? Would you take him on your KickIt team or no?
I wouldn't take him on my sumo wrestling team. That dude is the least athletic looking dude I have seen in a hot minute. To have a trophy named after him,
soccer trophy. That's crazy. I mean, he kind of deserves some sort of trophy because he's like how
Shut
he
up.
made it through the Game of Thrones. That is like the FIFA, is the FIFA organization. While all these government organizations were coming after him, how he got through there, he must be
It
a
is a little
shrewd
impressive. Absolutely.
motherfucker.
I'm with his reward is the amount of money that he's going to be able to retire on. That's his
Yeah,
reward. He
give
doesn't
him a
need a
documentary. Don't
trophy.
give him a fucking trophy.
God, I hope
As
they
if
claw it
players
all
didn't
back.
want to play in that tournament enough and they need
Right.
another reason to boycott it.
Gianni Infantino Club World Cup. Oh my God, that is ridiculous. All right, Mitchell, who you got?
I also have a good and a bad side to a coin. This is a little closer to home, though. The good side is Gio Reyna. Gio Reyna has started the past 2 games for Borussia Dortmund, scored most recently, played a great 77 minutes, and looks like he's on his way back to becoming one of the U.S. men's national team most important players for this cycle, and that's good for all of us. The bad side of that coin is Landon Donovan. And I know he had some help with this take as well, but it seems as if Landon Donovan curse is very real. He talked down Pulisic to AC Milan when it happened, and we've known how that has turned out. And he very recently talked about Gio and suggested that maybe he should go back to MLS to get some experience and playing time. And then Gio starts a Champions League game for Borussia Dortmund and then scores on the weekend as well, right after those comments. So maybe this is 2 good sides of a coin, that Landon Donovan should talk down towards U.S. men's national team players just a little more, give them a little motivation. But we like that dynamic for what it's done for Gio, and we hope that he stays healthy and keeps this trajectory.
I did see that the Landon's comments about that. And I think it was him and Tim Howard. They were both sort of had the same
And
take
to
on
be
that.
fair to both of those guys, it was not really steadfast that they were telling Gio like, "Hey, there's nothing for you over in Europe. Come back to MLS." It was a suggestion,
Yeah.
as many people on TV are paid to do.
And of
So,
course, a lot of people, all the people who
that
don't
kind of
like
thing.
MLS or the Euro snobs, however you want to call it, they're like,
That kind of thing catches wind one
oh
way or
yeah,
another. So,
you get traction with that.
oh yeah.
It's only a matter of time till something like that happens. That Weston McKennie sounds like he was kind of close to maybe coming back. Maybe not. I mean, there was all those rumors, and if you hear sort of Weston talk about it, he's like, "Yeah, I was staying in Juve the whole time." But it sounded like there were a lot of rumors. Anyway, okay. My go this week is a quick one. I'm going to give it to Rasmus Højlund for after the game. So I've gotten kind of annoyed watching. I know that simulation and diving and all that stuff. It's just a part of soccer and everything. There's been some pretty egregious dives lately. The Cucurella had one, I think, just today. Kyle Walker, like, it's a derby, right? And so him and Højlund come together. They do the little, kissing foreheads thing, and Kyle Walker just completely flops. That was just. I know
They're
he's been.
desperate. They're desperate. That's how they need to win.
Yeah,
Desperate.
yeah, really, that's what it felt like. It felt like, okay, well, I got to do something to help this team because I'm not doing much else recently, and he's catching a lot of grief for that. But that flop was so bad. I do respect Rasmus Højlund for going on, I think it was Instagram after the game, and the caption of it's him and Kyle Walker sort of kissing foreheads in the picture, and his caption was "Manchester is red, violets are blue. What a brilliant performance, but the Oscar goes to." That was pretty clever. I thought that was pretty clever by Mr. Højlund. So I'm going to give him some golf claps or some snaps. Well done on the caption. And yeah, Kyle Walker, come on, man. I mean, just come on. That's all we got this week.
Sam, real quick,
Yeah.
before we sign off, I want to address something fairly serious. So, we have just started the Patreon, in which we have an exclusive Discord for subscribers. This Discord is a meeting of the minds. It's like 60 to 70 people that are constantly talking footy all the time, as well as some extracurriculars. And in this Discord, I posted a poll last evening asking our dedicated followers if I should do the beers tonight. And I had an outpour of support. There was so many yeses, and I really appreciate all of this support. But there was one person who voted no. And I know you know who you are, so I'm not going to say your name, but I have half a mind to remove you from this exclusive Discord server because that's not the type of negativity in the community that we are trying to foster here at Sam's Army. So, if you feel like you can maybe contribute some positivity to our community, then I highly, highly suggest you join our Patreon, join the Discord server, and vote for me to drink more.
Well said. Well said. I didn't realize we were going to end it on such an important, serious, grave note.
Needs to be said.
Yeah, it's some
It
bullshit.
need to be said.
Yeah.
Subscribe to the Patreon, by the way. That's just sort of the undertones there. All right, boys, Tyler, Mitchell, you guys are the best. Everybody who's listening, I love all of you deeply. We'll be back next week. Bigger, better, faster, stronger. See you guys then.